Here we go, leaves. Leaves are so important because these leaves with their green chlorophyll cells absorb all that sunlight and they breathe in that bad air we breathe out, carbon dioxide, and then they take up through those roots water and food from the soil and manufacture food to help the plant grow. This leaf is what we call variegated. You can see it has different shades of green in the leaves. It's fun to see variegated plants. Sometimes they're even colored, like pinks and purples in with the green. Plants need leaves. Leaves grow from the stems of plants. Most leaves are green, but not all. The more color we have in our world, the better for our bodies. Look at these amazing tropical plants. Leaves make food for the whole plant. They use water, air, and sunlight to make the food through that process of photosynthesis, making energy from sunlight. Did you know we couldn't live on Mother Earth without the sun's warmth and light? We live on this just right planet where the temperatures allow plants to grow. So we're very, very lucky to have this beautiful planet. Veins inside leaves bring the food to the stem. See the veins going through the leaves? Stems carry the food to the rest of the plant. Leaves give off oxygen when they make food. We breathe the oxygen. So we breathe out that toxic carbon dioxide, but the plants breathe it in and they manufacture their food and then they breathe out fresh oxygen for us to breathe in. And that oxygen travels through the cloud layer all over the planet. So anytime we plant things, we're helping the whole world by producing fresh air. All kinds of leaves. Thin pine tree leaves look like needles. They stay green all year long. We call these kind of trees evergreen trees because those needles keep their green color all year round. A tree like an oak tree is what we call a deciduous tree. It drops its leaves in the fall, and those leaves fall to the ground and provide food for our decomposer pals to eat all winter long and poop out that new rich soil to nourish the growing plants. And here we see these cones. Cones have their seeds on the outside. Did you know we can even eat pine cone seeds? Oftentimes we call them pine nuts, and they're really delicious. Broad maple leaves turn orange and yellow in the autumn. We also call autumn fall. They fall off the tree. New leaves grow in spring. But the buds form on the branches in the fall, and they just sleep all winter long until spring, when the warm temperatures and the sunlight help them to wake up and know that it's safe to start growing. Eating leaves, look at this. We have such a beautiful variety of lettuces. Did you ever know there were such amazing varieties of lettuces and other greens that we can eat that are so delicious, but also so healthy for our bodies? Lettuce leaves make a tasty salad. Each head of lettuce has layers of leaves. They look quite frilly, don't they? And so pretty. Oh, look at who do we see here? There's our giraffe. Giraffes eat only leaves. They spend most of the day biting leaves off the tree tops. Good thing they have such long necks. Now, have you noticed that this tree has thorns and spines all over it. Those thorns and spines protect the tree from other predators, but the giraffe doesn't mind. He's adapted to eating those special acacia leaves. Wonderful leaves, broad or narrow, soft or fuzzy, leaves help plants stay alive. Look at the texture on these beautiful leaves. They look almost crinkly. Some plants are just amazing in their variety of leaves. One of our favorite flowering plants in the garden that I especially like to use in our fairy gardens are Coleus Leaves, and they are so beautiful. They grow in a rainbow of colors, and they produce teeny tiny flowers that the hummingbirds love to come and sip. So fun. Parts of a maple tree. Pretty soon we're going to be seeing our maple trees starting to change color. It's almost fall. We're going to read some stories about fall maple trees and the gifts of maple trees, including maple syrup. Yum! So here we see leaves, and this canopy of this maple tree is just full of those leaves, absorbing sunlight and carbon dioxide and breathing out that fresh air for you and I to breathe in. Here's that little whirlybird seed, and you'll see squirrels up there this time of year busily eating those seeds up in the treetops. And we see those beautiful leaves. They can be different colors year-round, but usually they're green and then change to gold or red or brown or yellow in the fall, especially sugar maple trees. And of course, our little Japanese maple trees are so beautiful and dainty. And here's our little baby maple tree with a teeny tiny stem. It's 2 little seed leaves, and the roots are underground. And the roots of this maple tree would spread all around the base of the tree, around the circle of the canopy. It's really neat to learn about our beautiful standing ones, trees. Now we're going to read about flowers. Flowers are such an important part of our world. Do you think we can live on a world without flowers? I don't think so. Remember, our flowers are an important food source for our pollinators and many other animals, including people. People eat a lot of flowers. We're going to learn about some of the fun flowers that we can eat. Not all flowers are healthy for people to eat. Not all plants are healthy for people to eat. And that's why it's important to learn about the plants in our world and to be very careful if we don't recognize a plant. Always ask for help from mom or dad or teachers before eating something that you don't know about. We're going to learn about some of those wild edibles that Mother Earth provides for us to keep us healthy and the animals. But safety first. Always have to be safe when exploring the natural world. Plants need flowers. Look at these beautiful black-eyed Susans with their big brown eyes. Flowers make seeds and fruits for plants. Flowers come in many colors, shapes, and sizes. They are so beautiful, and our bees and butterflies just love them. Another name for black-eyed Susan is rudbeckia. Flower buds grow from the stem of a plant. The buds open and the flowers bloom. So here we see those buds. Buds are closed up tight. The petals are closed up, and when it gets big enough, it uncurls its petals and exposes the pollen and nectar and the different internal parts of the flower. It sends off a special smell to attract its animal helpers, bees or butterflies or hummingbirds. Depending on the plant, each plant has a special animal helper. Sometimes people are the animal helper. Here we see apple blossoms, and in the spring, those apple blossoms have such a beautiful fragrance, and they put on such a beautiful show of color. Flowers have pollen inside. See all that yellow pollen dust? Pollen helps flowers make seeds. So all that yellow pollen dust will be collected on the pollen baskets of our bee buddies. They take that pollen back and use it to create honey to feed their family. They also sip the nectar from the flowers, and the nectar, it has that sugary energy to give them the strength to fly around during their good works. Now, a bee buddy will gather the yellow pollen dust from one flower, and then when it goes to the next flower, some of that yellow pollen dust will fall into the next flower and pollinate it to help it produce a seed pod or a fruit containing seeds. Depends on the plant. Parts of the flowers turn into fruit. Seeds grow inside the fruit. New plants grow from seeds. It's a very exciting thing to see that transformation because of the help of our little bees and other pollinators. All kinds of flowers. Who do we see here? Our darling little hummingbird. And do you see this flower has a tubular shape? It's one that really enjoys having hummingbirds with their long curved beak. It gives it a reward for coming to visit. That laps up that sweet nectar, but it will gather pollen granules on its body, and when it flies to the next flower, some will fall into the next flower to pollinate it. So we need the help of our little animal helpers. They have a partnership. Colorful flower petals attract birds. The birds sip on the nectar inside the flowers. Roses have soft petals that smell good. Roses grow on bushes. Sometimes we even eat rose petals, or we use them in teas and different drinks that we have. Even the rose hips are used for making tea, and they have lots of vitamin C for our bodies. Flowers we eat. We eat some flowers. Cauliflower is a white flower. I love cauliflower. But did you know cauliflower also grows yellow or orange or green or purple? They all taste really good, and it can be eaten raw or cooked. Really delicious. Broccoli is another kind of flower we like to eat, and it is so yummy. I love to eat those they look like little trees, don't they? Artichokes are flower buds. They make good dips and sauces. And artichokes are very, very beautiful flowers. They don't grow well here in Illinois, in this part of the world. We don't have a long enough growing season, but they are very fun to try. You can find them at the grocery store. Wonderful flowers, pretty or plain, large or small, flowers help plants make fruits and seeds. Look at the abundance of life that's growing here in this garden, thanks to the good works of our pollinator pals, bees and butterflies and hummingbirds, sometimes beetles, sometimes little mice will pollinate plants by transferring that pollen. Sometimes people do too. Mother Earth welcomes all of our good help working together. Here we have the parts of a sunflower. There is that seed. This one has kind of stripes on the seed. Remember, we can eat sunflowers too. They're full of all kinds of that long-lasting energy called protein. Birds and squirrels and rabbits, all of them love sunflower seeds too. Here's the root that was inside of that seed all along with a little start of a stem and leaves. Here we have big leaves forming that will absorb all that sunlight to help manufacture food. And here's that big, thick stem that will help stretch that sunflower way up to get closer to the sun.